All right, we're back. You're listening to Coffee, Chaos, and ProdSec. I'm Kurt Hendel, a battle-tested security architect with zero trust worldview. I can see Cameron making faces at me right now. And of course, Cameron's here, the AppSec and DevSecOps builder trying to automate the world. Stop doing squats. We brought a second repeat guest. Blake is back in the house. Blake, he's a software engineer who crossed over to the AppSec dark side, still has his engineer brain, still thinks most security tooling is solving problems in the most painful ways possible, and he has very strong opinions about both. Welcome back, Blake.
It's true. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we're turning real world security chaos into conversations that matter, as always. But before we get to it, 5 stars, hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe, follow, smash the smash. I don't know what all the buttons say. That's all I've got. And tell all your friends, of course. Now let's get into it. All right, Cameron, this is an exciting one. We've been thinking about it for a week. I know you're stoked because you're standing right now, which is crazy.
Standing. I'm literally standing. I was like, all right, this one, I got to stand. I got too much energy. I'm excited. I'm amped.
Like
gonna have a hard time
I'm feeling the energy myself from halfway across the country now.
I hope
tell
you
us
are.
what we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, what are we talking about? Well, literally, the topic is supposed to be what, Claude Code came out. It's a very interesting thing. I think if you guys go on LinkedIn and start reading about it, well, you'll find some opinions. There's going to be a lot
of Code Security specifically. Claude Code, because you got to add the security on it.
Code Security. Sorry. Yeah, it came out February 20th. It's disrupting the market. There's a whole bunch of titles. I don't know, Blake, what are the titles that you heard that were like, oh yeah, that's totally true?
I don't.
titles
about what this is.
Cybersecurity is dead.
Those like titles of headlines. Man, I was thinking I'm like titles for the product. I mean, it's Claude Code Security. That's how. Anyway,
that's what I was thinking.
I heard ProdSec was dead.
I'm just too excited. I'm too excited. Can't get the words out.
Yeah. No, that's all.
He's angry because AppSec is still alive.
I heard everything is dead. Everyone's going to lose their jobs. And then you start seeing counter pieces as well on that.
You didn't already? No,
You're not already out. Yeah. All right.
I mean, I was out the day after. I'm kidding.
Oh,
just gone. I wasn't the day before.
We don't need architects anymore. Get out.
Gone. All right. Well, I mean, the most important question is, what are you guys drinking? Literally, what are you guys drinking? You want me to go first? Kurt, you want to go first? I know you're pretty amped about yours.
Goes first.
All right, Blake, what are you drinking?
Be a good host. Guest goes first.
You guys, I'm not good with this. I needed decaf today, and we didn't have any decaf coffee, so I'm actually drinking Earl Grey tea. So I know it's a break.
Earl Grey.
But I was like, if I drink coffee, I'm already pretty spicy about this topic. If I have more caffeine, it's not going to be good. So yeah, I just have some plain old Bigelow Earl Grey tea, but I love it. That's what I have today.
Bring in your Captain Picard hat today. I can tell. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Kurt, what are you having?
I have new beans. I even have the bag in front of me, which I don't normally do, but I changed the beans yesterday, and from Atomic Coffee Roasters, Space Cadet. See, we got the bag. Oof. It says clementine, nougat, and burnt sugar. It's a medium roast. It's freaking delicious. I love it. Cameron, what do you have?
So I'm finishing the final can from Trader Joe's. It is a French vanilla cold brew coffee. It's good. It's good. There's the can. It's tasty.
I'm very convincing with that, but I'll take it.
All right. It's so good. I can't believe I'm drinking it. Oh my gosh. I love it. Can't. I need more.
Now you're ready for sponsorship already.
Good to go, dude. If we got a coffee sponsor, like Trade or something,
that would be the best
Chef's
ever.
Kiss. Chef's kiss.
Trade is how I get my coffee, so
that's how you stay up to date.
That would be amazing. Like, come on.
I go to H Mart or just cruise places and grab a whole bunch. I'm out. I gotta go buy some. So it's something I gotta do.
Get to it. That's important.
All right. Well, let's clear the pleasantries. All right. And we didn't even let Blake introduce himself. I don't know if you noticed that, and we're not going to let that happen. Let's get into it. Let's have some fun.
We gave him a better intro than we give ourselves. Like, isn't that?
That's pretty good. Man. I liked it.
It's pretty good. It's pretty all right. As long as you're okay with it, then whatever. All right. So when Claude Code Security came out, the markets just apparently cratered. I don't know. I'm a little hesitant
Just
on
a little
that.
bit.
Yeah, and I just thought it was interesting that a lot of people fixated on that. I don't know. I just want to spend a few seconds on this because I just don't think it. There was already sell-offs happening. The market was
There's
already
more
going
to
down.
it.
Yeah, there's way more to it.
I do a lot of investing. Like, I'm looking at this stuff constantly as it is. Like, the SaaS sector software was already hurting, and then this happened. So everyone was like, oh no, security's dead. And we're like, no. So it was the right time to buy.
Yeah.
Everything
It's
went on
mostly
sale.
just speculation. I don't know. One announcement, one page article on Claude's website tanking all of these. There's so many market forces going on. It's not, you're not able to say this is the thing that did that. Like you guys said, things were moving down.
Speculation, news cycles. I mean, I saw an earnings call today where they missed by, like, their earnings per share was $4 lower than what they estimated, and the stock went up 15%. So that just tells you it's crazy. It's not
Bananas.
about, there's so many, it's bananas. There you go.
Bananas.
I'm all out of sorts. I'm supposed to say bananas, not crazy.
Yeah, bananas. So the big question, again, before we get into anything around it further, I want to say, what is Claude Code Security? Who wants to take that one?
Magic.
It's magic, yes. It's a little bit
there you go. The Salt Bay is in the
room. A little code Salt Bay magic that you sprinkle on your
sprinkle
code.
That on your code.
And boom, chef's kiss.
Your vulnerabilities disappear.
I mean, pretty much all LLMs are magic anyway. So, but yeah, I mean, Claude Code Security is essentially an agent that finds vulnerabilities, and I'm not even sure if did it say it fixed them too, or just found them? No,
proposes fixes. Yeah. So
fixes.
The line I took is it's a reasoning system that reads code the way a senior security researcher would, not a chatbot with a rule book. An output, or the output is not a report. It's a PR with a proposed fix already written. So we're going full circle on vulnerabilities, is what they're pitching.
Isn't it about time? It's been a while.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. It's like, kind of sounds like not really a very big announcement. You know what I mean? Like, you could already kind of do this stuff. We've been using Copilot at my place to fix vulnerabilities. Like, I don't know why there was so much hype on this. It maybe is a little bit more efficient, but you could kind of already do this, and maybe it's packaged in a way where it's more agentic and self, running or whatever.
I was reading about it, and it's like, one, this has already been happening, right? And so, like, the Googles, the Microsofts, they all have agent swarms that are doing this. They just haven't blasted out to the public. Aardvark, OpenAI brought Aardvark. They've been doing it, but this Google. Suddenly Claude Code Security makes this all like real and accessible to the masses. Well, not the masses yet; it's in beta, but still, like, it blew up the news and everyone freaked out over it. And I think it's just because it was the first like instance where it became more accessible. Like, now it's real for more than just the tech giants.
I don't know.
You could already do some of this with Claude Code.
With Claude Code
CLI could already kind of
it's kind of a wrapper around it, right? You just download Blake, the engineer skill, and boom, you got it.
Oh, I thought you named the agent Blake, and that was what. Like, Blake doesn't work anymore, man. You didn't know?
You get royalties from that. That's fair.
Well, I mean, going before that, even, like, Cameron, I know here's your setup for what you want to talk about, the whole DARPA AI cybersecurity challenge, right? Or AI cyber challenge, whatever the name is. Like, that happened last year, and it did produced insane results, and here we are, like, this has never happened before. It's like, actually, it's happened like 6 times. So
I was reading about this and around the DARPA and like what they announced, and I remember reading it way back when it was being announced, and then they actually had the competition, and then they announced the winners, and I was reading the results, and I was like, this is really cool. It was really interesting, and it didn't really click what kind of was set in motion, I feel, from that. And I'm gonna like go down my hypothetical world that I view was kind of happening. But it didn't really click till a couple weeks ago, like a month ago, and I put a post on LinkedIn about it, and it exploded. And I kind of highlighted this that ProdSec is in a kind of transformation, and I didn't know what that transformation really was and what was happening. I knew the DARPA event kind of concluded to something, and when I was reading the results with a fresh mind, a new perspective, and just a lot of research, having attended a lot of dinners with the CISOs, telling them, explaining all their problems they're having with AI and securing AI, it really came to a head for me that, like, we're heading toward a world where fixing vulnerabilities and finding and fixing is not too far of a stretch. It's and the cost is getting less and less. Now the cost is completely debatable. Debatable. I think there's going to be caveats, and anybody who's listening is going to be like, they're going to be raging with pitchforks coming over to my house. But
it's subjective.
It is subjective.
There's a lot of variables based on companies and people and the rest of it.
Yeah, and what you're using and what were they doing. But in the DARPA, like, they put out this number, and I don't know how accurate it is, but the number is there, and it's one that's being circulated. It's somewhere around $150 to $155 from detection to remediation per vulnerability. That is a fascinating number. I think that's a really interesting number, and something that you should think about as you think about this whole problem and where we're headed. Is AI is only getting cheaper. It's getting more efficient. Efficiency, again, debatable, but we are, in general, at least all the benchmark shows and all the charts and everything we're seeing forward facing is that it's getting more efficient. We can debate that. I don't really want to, but if it's all holding true, right, then it's getting cheaper. And the question comes, what's the value proposition there? It unlocks a whole different conversation around all the tooling that AppSec uses today. Is this going to just disrupt from a value proposition across the board? AI SaaS, AI everything, tools is going to happen. I'll pause there.
Yeah. I think I'm a numbers nerd. I was always good at math. I like science. Of course, I'm in technology, so people are going to be like, yeah, that makes sense. But if it's $150 to fix a vulnerability end to end, and you're paying engineers six figures, call it 150,000 a year, that's 1,000 vulnerabilities in a year. Do you have engineers that fix 1,000 vulnerabilities in a year?
I mean, do you have engineers that write 1,000 vulnerabilities in a year?
Possibly. Vibe coding, man.
Yeah. But it's vibe coded. So like, these numbers are totally subjective, because the vibe codes are putting the vulns in there, and then they're fixing their own vulns. And they could say we're fixing vulns for $20 a vuln, but they are creating the supply and the demand. Okay, guys, this is not a valid point. I'm just being ridiculous.
But it's still like that's where the subjectivity comes in, though.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, at least the number that we're looking at is confirmed vulnerabilities in open source, right? The whole point of the project that they were doing was go detect in popular open source libraries valid vulnerabilities and display your false positive ratio, how good it was, what was accepted wasn't, and open source it, right? That was the other big part of this competition, is you had to open source your solution. So there's literally has been out there for
not just the code
6 months
solution,
now.
but like your agentic solution.
Yeah,
right?
like that was how they did
that's
it.
Very cool to me. Yeah, that was the DARPA thing.
Yeah, it was really cool. They took something and had these really smart people go do something amazing, and then it wasn't hidden in some kind of box that, like, Code Security or Claude Code Security is or something. Yeah, it's not just hidden somewhere being sold somewhere. It's literally there. You can go grab those, download them, and use them and improve upon them, right? There's an interview with one of the winners or somebody, and they were saying along the lines that, like, they saw what Claude Code Security was delivering, as well as all these other frontier platforms and what other vendors who are doing it too in the space. They're way better than what these people had, right? This is just a kind of a research job to prove a point and do some really cool stuff, which is also a fascinating thing. It means all these models are getting better. I think that's, again, really interesting question there.
Well, as part of that cyber challenge, didn't they went after synthetic vulnerabilities, right? Like, that's the big story, and they achieved, like, I don't remember how many they fixed. Was it like 86% or something like that? But didn't they also find like previously unknown real vulnerabilities and submit patches for them as part of this.
Yeah, but that's the again, that's why there are
It's even
AI
building
SaaS.
on it further.
Yeah, but that's why there's AI SaaS vendors. There's been AI SaaS vendors for the last 2+ years who have been pitching the same thing, because traditional application security tools like a SaaS vendor, static application security tools, those vendors, what we have had previously, right? I would say modern day vendors are using grep analysis. It's a common approach, a pattern recognition kind of approach. And then before that, there's the older vendors who maybe have compilation, not as fast, maybe a little more accurate. I think it's all debatable and subjective to your code bases. And then you have the cutting edge AI SaaS tools that are all doing and finding vulnerabilities that you can't find traditionally through grep analysis, or even before that. There's a whole bunch of SKU vulnerabilities literally on the OS top 10 that most vendors can't actually properly scan. And with these ones, yeah, they're finding them. They're finding previous ones, because the machine's not going to, I don't know, get tired or miss some of the things that a human might. And in an open source, you don't have security fairies just running around in open source at all times.
Yeah,
you have volunteers.
Security fairies. I love this.
We wish.
I mean, in all reality, I think this is very, very exciting for static analysis tools. Like, I think this is incredibly good stuff. And this is the type of stuff something like an LLM, a fine-tuned LLM, is going to be really, really good at. Way better than people, to be honest, for the most part. My biggest kind of, when we start talking about this, though, my biggest beef is mostly with just all the sensational headlines and things. It was just incredibly, I don't know, they seem like they were written by people that don't really know much about the subject, or written by people that were the target audience is actually a VC firm that they want to get funding from, or they're trying to pump some stock numbers or something like that, right? Like, or trying to get more eyeballs, or just be sensational. But in the grand scheme of things, this is really, really interesting and really cool technology. But what Anthropic's doing is kind of just what everyone, like you said, Google, these other places, everyone knew they were going to be doing something like this, and everyone's training their models to go towards this. So I'm still a little confused why this article was the one that kind of blew things up. And maybe it was just because this is the one that got the hype. Maybe it happened at the same time that the stock in the tech sector kind of started taking a tanking, and those things just like amplified the reach of that kind of stuff. I mean, here we are talking about it. We're amplifying the reach of this as well. But you know,
a series of unfortunate events. I mean, back in one of our early episodes, I think it was the three of us talking about Google and FFmpeg, right? Like AI finding vulnerabilities in open source code and doing it kind of irresponsibly, and setting expectations that were unreasonable. And here we are, however many episodes later, talking about how that's kind of been turned on its head in a way, but the same risk still exists to some degree. Right.
Yeah. Let me take you down my thought process and my theory on this. All right, let's get ready for this. I think the reason everyone you better be it the reason it got so much hype and it got so much is would you guys agree with me that Claude Code is like maybe the top, or one of the top 3 best coding agents?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
It's good.
I was nodding. The mic doesn't pick that up. Sorry.
Yeah, the mic doesn't pick it. You got to say. Kurt
nods. It'll be on YouTube one day.
Kurt nods with asterisks.
Kurt's turned into you're basically a grumpy old man complaining about technology now. Like, you're just nodding or don't know how to use your phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Back
in my day, we wore onions on our belts.
The security onions.
Yeah, security onion.
All right, back to the point.
So we agree that Claude Code is probably one of the best coding agents. And that's the part that I found was very interesting for me. And there's this, I don't know, word or something, phrase, I don't know if it just comes to mind. It's just secure at generation. Imagine what you're doing. If they can deliver what they've done with code in a security realm, that changes the game. And I firmly believe that we're heading, at least the next generation, which again, quick question, how many posts have you seen recently or people talk about MCP servers in the last 6 months?
It's fallen off. Well, now I'm cheating because Cameron and I were talking about this earlier, and out of context too.
Yeah.
But my opinion on this is, I saw someone post today. It wasn't about MCP servers. It was similar, but now all the rage is skills.
Yeah. So
I mean, I have a hot take. I have hot take on MCP server. Very short. They're just hard to work with. It's a lot easier to get your AI agent to just make API calls. Like that's significantly easier
set
to
up
do
a set
than
of
to work with
skills
an MCP
or
server.
an instruction file,
or just or a deterministic tool that does the API calls, and you just have just let it use curl.
So
remove the middleman.
And that's kind of the thing, is that MCP is only like a year and a couple months old, a year and a half, I think, or somewhere around there. And we've already, like, the hype cycle, the whole thing is already kind of, it's either become baseline, or everyone's moving on from it. And we've all moved towards agents, skills, and things like that, right? That's what everyone's talking about now. That's, I think, the key thing is that what the possibility a leading frontier lab can deliver around a coding agent, can they replicate that same success with embedding a security agent? And I'm seeing, and I foresee, that there will be agent swarms is what developers will be using. No longer will they actually, it's already happening, and I think it'll continue and only further, right?
Yeah.
You'll be able to set up multiple agents. You'll have a security agent in there, and that's Claude Code Security. And they're going to look at all the code that's happening and fix it in real time from a security perspective. And everyone's always like, well, why didn't they just spit out security code, right? Why isn't the code just secure? And I'm going to say that's a hard challenge. We're literally doing cutting edge stuff. We're solving it as we go. And sometimes the best solution is decouple rather than combine things. Everything in life, every problem you have, you don't just go, I'm going to just tackle the problem, divide and conquer, break it down into small chunks. You conquer all the small ones, then you keep building it back up into the big problem. I would assume that's how I learned to program. That's what they told us all the time. I assume they're doing the same thing. It makes sense to me. Have a little agent in there. And so if I can have a little agent with all my coding agents, keeping all the other ones in check, my code is getting secure before I even commit it. And I think that's maybe some of the hype. At least I see this with the excitement I see, is that I'm like, okay, that is interesting. Has a lot of implications.
I think I want to build on that a little bit, because I actually posted about this. I don't remember what day it was, but I don't post often because I'm doing other stuff. But I took a page out of Cameron's book this week, and it was kind of along these same lines of, yes, we have agents that are fixing code. What I want to see next is agents that are fixing the misconfigurations. And you could argue, well, you could do that in the infrastructure as code. Fine, do it. I also want to see security agents operating in the cloud. They have CLIs. They can dynamically scan. CSPMs are noisy and annoying. I was playing with one earlier today, and it just made me angry because it was lying to me. It's like, you have a crypto miner. I was like, no, I don't. That's not possible. And lo and behold, guess what? I didn't. But still, like, being able to react in real time, like something gets deployed, and you're like, oh, I missed it. Like, let's fix it. Let's patch it. You can put something in place very quickly in the cloud, and that's the beauty of it. And then you can also fix that in code. So it's like you get virtual patches on top of your code fixes, and this whole ecosystem kind of comes together to create this self-healing system.
Are you like suggesting? I want to ask a question about, like, are you suggesting, for an example, using maybe the Kubernetes CLI, and an agent has access to that, and it's like querying the configs or checking the logs or whatever to see what's going on and detecting, and maybe even potentially using the CLI to fix a config that is insecure or something like that? Is that the kind of, is that like, yeah, is that?
Because so that can be dangerous though, right? Because it can nuke your system at the same time.
I want to pause right here. I want to get a round table. I had this happen at a dinner. If you had
Amazon
an AI, if you had an AI that could do that and do these fixes like you're saying, would you want a human in the loop, or would you always forever want a human in the loop, or would you accept someday that there would be no human in that loop?
I want to build up to it. So it's funny. We always have this conversation in the industry, right? Like I remember sitting in a customer advisory board meeting with 20 executives, architects, engineers, whatever, and everyone's like, "I will never turn on auto remediation."
Yeah.
Yeah, because the stupid thing breaks your system half the time. Of course, you don't trust it. You're not going to turn it on. Guess what? Agents, AI, and
Humans do
agents
too.
learn. Well, I would say that there's going to be systems you say no, and there's going to be systems you say yes. It's
Absolutely.
about context, it's about business criticality and priorities.
And how you can put how you could potentially put guardrails on that
Oh, he said
particular
the
system.
word.
I said the word.
You gotta have
He
your
said it.
bumpers.
But you
Gotta
gotta
have
and
going
agents are hard to
bowling.
do
You
this
need
with, but
bumpers.
you gotta you gotta let the agent do certain things and not do certain things. And honestly,
Yeah,
right now, we don't have great systems to add guardrails to AI agents right now. It's everyone's just it is what it is. You know, we're embracing AI,
yeah,
but that's going to change, right? Like you could have a wrapper around the Kubernetes CLI that only allows non-destructive commands, and then the agent has access to only that CLI, right?
yeah.
That would just be a small example, but right now we don't have at scale, don't have great tools for doing some of that. That's going to change.
Yep.
Absolutely. I agree. And I know now
Well,
you got me thinking because I saw Chris Hughes posted earlier about OpenAI's new governance framework that they just launched for agents. I know Cameron saw it because he's jogging back and forth. So I want to hear what you think about it.
it's not even that. I wanted to talk about a different thing that's kind of, again, back to what we were talking about around
All right, backtrack.
MCP and chain, and kind of what's happening. And yes, we can totally build these tools, and there will be tools. My big question and frustration that I have right now is, if you look back the past years of the iteration and changes that engineering and security have had to go through, the cycle in which the turn or churn that we have has been a little less rapid. AI has made this a very fast, very quick kind of change, right? We just established, like, before, everyone was chatting, go a year ago or 2 years ago, everyone was chatting through a chatbot. Then MCPs came out, and that exploded and brought it a whole new world. Now we're talking about agents, and then agent skills are now a big thing. How are we as security professionals supposed to support our engineering partners and the corporation and the attack vectors and reduce risk, manage risk, if our tooling can never keep up because the technology we have to secure is being invented and used in cycles that are less than a year? Right?
I think I want to hear Blake's take because I introduced him with hot takes on vendors. So we're going to hear from Blake. But my
uh,
personal feeling on
yeah.
this is vendors need to start innovating in that same cycle.
Yeah, but
All
that's
right, Blake,
hard.
that's all I'm going to say. I want to hear it.
Oh, Blake.
Okay, so here's my prediction. Um, we're going to have a lot of vendors that have been around for a while, like get bought by someone else or just die. They're not going to be able to adapt, right? It's
Morbid.
I I don't want that to happen. I like having lots of options out there, and I think that's good. But I also think it's extremely difficult to keep up with the pace of everything right now. As security professionals trying to secure all of this stuff, uh, it's going to be very hard, and I don't know if we have good answers to a lot of that. I mean, if we're have a swarm of agents, and they're committing 15,000 lines of code every 10 minutes to a repo, like how are you securing that? And how do you keep up with that? You have to use tools to do that. There's no way a person can do that, and those tools will have to be an AI agent. So or something similar to the technology that's creating that, or something with similar capabilities of the technology that's creating that much code. And I don't know, security tends to kind of lag behind the other things. I know Cameron says this all the time. Security tends to lag behind stuff. Uh,
It does.
Everything was focused on writing code and all this stuff, and security's kind of we have Cloud Security, we have these other things doing it. But this was a couple of years after LLMs were initially writing code. And we're just going to have better tools. Where I think vendors will either win or lose is if they are good at managing token usage. Because we're getting addicted to tokens right now. Like AI companies are like, here, you want some more tokens? They're all subsidized. And even though the price is coming down, they're basically paying us to use those tokens. And so the vendors that are using these models and paying is it itchy? Are my skins itchy? Like, I don't know. Got any more of those?
Blake is twitching. He must need to go write some code.
We're going to be getting credit cards with token points. Every time you spend it, you get more tokens.
You're gonna see numbers like in video games start flying past your head. You got 1,000 more tokens, Blake. Go.
But if the vendors, like if the security vendors are managing their tokens and they're being token efficient, that allows them to compete for business much more aggressively. Meaning, one kind of small example is maybe they're sending all of their scanner output logs through a filter that just gets rid of everything that's not specific to the problem the agent's trying to solve before they send that into the AI agent, instead of consuming the entire like output log of their agent tools or whatever. Or maybe they're optimizing by using a very small, very cheap agent to do this very specific task that it's good at, and then the more complex, more costly agents handle the more complex logic. Vendors are going to be the ones that, if they can be token efficient, they're the ones that are going to win more business and be more efficient and be better at that. But I think it's going to be this weird kind of token economies of scale and efficiencies that vendors will be able to do better than in-house teams will be able to do, and that will be their special competing, I don't know, technology or skill or whatever.
I just had a crazy random thought, but as you said that, I was like, is this Bitcoin all over again with tokens?
It could be.
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm gonna pivot. I'm gonna pivot hard.
It could be an economics problem, but I'm gonna let Cameron do. Let's see you pivot. You're standing up.
So, again, we're breaking it down to the. We said like a remediation of vulnerability from detect to end is somewhere around $150, $160, $155, right? The question that I have and that I've been contemplating with that too, which is how the value proposition for like bug bounty programs, for pen testing, all starts to shift on this. And I agree, like there's a whole token economy, but let's assume that keeps going in the right direction and getting cheaper and things get better. That is fascinating because it throws a lot of different vendors around that number. Could we see pen testing at a quality we've never seen, at a price point we've never seen? Bug bounty programs. Are we going to see the death of bug bounty programs because there's the rise of automated pen testing, or AI pen testing that is bug bounty programs just 24/7, and now I pay.
I'll just say right now, yes, bug bounties will die. Bug bounty programs are going to die. They're already getting hammered right now. That's my hot take. I think they're going to die.
I want to see the debate because I think I'm kind of on Blake's side of the fence with that one.
I am too. No, I think it'll go. I think we're all in the unison. I think it'll all go.
I thought Cameron was gearing up to be like, hot take. I don't know.
No, I was just saying I'm going to have to clip that and throw it on LinkedIn and everywhere so everyone knows Blake's hot opinion.
Oh, there you go. Blake is being put in the hot seat.
Yeah, let's do it.
But it's definitely an interesting thing when we're seeing these kinds of transforming mechanisms and markets and tools as this happening, which just leads me to, I would say, kind of the next topic. We've been doing the same stuff for the last 20 years, which is just bananas. We literally have been doing the same stuff for 20 years plus. It's just bananas. And AI has really required ProdSec to change. We have to change. It's paramount to how we have to change. I can't. It's crazy. It's bananas. All our vendors need to change. Literally everything's going to change. I don't know where stuff's going to land, but the big question I'm having is, yes, we're going to do SaaS, and we're going to probably have some kind of AI SaaS, and SCA is debatable, and DAS is debatable, and all these things. But from the new vendors and the new threat landscape, you guys are like, yes, we have to have tool vendors. Yes, we have to have these vendors that help us secure all these new attack surfaces. But the problem is it takes time, literally time, to develop secure, trustable solutions. And what if in 6 months everyone's done with agents and skills because there's a new hot something, walking down the block, and you're like, all right, now we're doing this. And so all the vendors who have been in stealth mode for the last 3 months, a year, have to pivot again, and then you have to pivot again, because that's what it kind of feels like. I don't know if you guys are feeling that way, but everything's kind of pivot to pivot to pivot to pivot.
Everything, every aspect of tech right now feels like that. AI has massively increased the pace of everything in tech, and it's
funny to think it's funny to think about that too, is because remember, people are like, AI is going to replace the workforce. They're like, oh wait, that's not a good idea. We need people to come back a bit, but not all the way. And it's the whole intent was to gain velocity. And then people are like, well, no one is actually showing ROI. And you see all these reports that AI is not delivering. I'm like, isn't it though? Because we have literally witnessed the velocity of innovation accelerate to a pace we've never seen before, and AI is enabling it.
I mean, there's definitely something to be said there and something to be noticed. Yes.
And I mean, I feel this a lot because, I mean, Cameron, you and I, we worked together on AI security strategies. And it was not even a year ago that we had written our first like AI standard, and the rest AI, I should say AI security standard. But now stuff changes so quickly that every time we think we have it, something changes again. We got to go rework part of it. Right. Yeah. So like, when is the cycle going to break? We went from 20 years of needing transformation to now we transform like 2 or 3, 4 times a year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just disruptive. That just is what it is. I'm literally old enough to remember a time before the internet and a time after the internet. And I've talked with my kids. I'm like, you guys are going to be telling your grandkids, I remember a time before AI and and we didn't have to, I don't know,
so I see,
deal with that kind of stuff. Whatever. We used to have to write papers ourselves, walking uphill both ways. And,
Our dog used to eat our homework and stuff like that. Like now you got me thinking about the first computer I've ever had.
But it's disruptive, and who knows where it's going to go. Security, when the internet came along, cybersecurity was kind of a thing, but no. So the internet changed the way people thought about just security in general. AI is changing the way people have to think about security in general, and frankly, security is going to lag behind for a while. But there's a lot of cool tech to play with. I'm pretty excited about some of these tools. I know AI stuff has enabled me quite a bit more to just do some more fun things. I'm always tinkering with something, but small example, Bash. I've never written a lot of Bash, but with AI, I can totally crank out some Bash to do something fun or whatever, right? So we're going to see that, but it's going to be completely disruptive to security. It's going to be disruptive to a lot of things, and no one really knows where it's going to go, except for that we all agree that bug bounty programs are going away. So that's we can predict that future. It's just going to happen. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean the transformation that is happening with AppSec, ProdSec is inevitable. All our tooling cannot keep up with this. As we're talking about, people are going to be coding in swarms. Who knows where that's going to lead? It's going to change how we fundamentally do it, because all our foundations right now focus on a human level approach, that a human is somewhere in that loop. And by in that loop, I mean, slowing down the process. I envision that we are heading quickly towards a world where the human in that loop is smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And as it's smaller, it goes smaller and smaller. The speed at which we deliver our products, our code, whatever aspect and part of security you are a part of, is your window is going to get smaller. If we fundamentally use the tooling that we have today, I feel like that falls over. That literally falls over. You look at even the grep analysis tools today, depending on the size, it can be a lot. There's a decent amount of false positives often in these things. So to contextualize immense, that we go back to tokens. You could maybe theorize. I envision that we will, as a security team in the next year, it will be required to have an AI SaaS tool. The problem with AI SaaS tools, sometimes they're slow. Depending on the size of your code, they lose context. They're a little slower, depending on XYZ. Way more accurate, find way more, interesting and complex and important vulnerabilities, but a little slower. So you're going to have a combination. You're still going to have some kind of open source solution, or not, a traditional SaaS grep analysis tool, because those can find patterns so much cheaper. They can find that low-hanging fruit, those low-hanging vulnerabilities, and then maybe you pump that into the triage of your AI SaaS tool and combine it all together. But still, all that falls apart when you have developers committing, I don't know, hundreds of vulns, or hundreds of commits. And then the underlying engines get better. The economics just show that we're heading towards where code security should improve. At least that's how I feel. I'm an optimist. I am hoping that our code security will always continue to get more secure, and I don't have to deal with code level vulnerabilities anymore.
I like the hybrid approach. The question in my mind is like things operating at machine speed, right? It gets to be so fast, but if the AI SaaS solution is going to be slow, like at what point do you trigger it? It's not going to be able to keep up, right? And now you bring in the more traditional scanner. When do you trigger that? Because if you're getting hundreds of commits from developers, you can't scan all of them and do it justice, right? So how do you selectively focus on what you need to get high fidelity findings and fixes and make sure that the big one doesn't go out the door?
I mean, I think we already kind of know that solution. You'll just take a snap. If they're doing a commit every 15 minutes, that's a snapshot of the repo. We'll just do a snapshot of the repo once a day and do a full 24-hour scan, and it's just going to be behind. That's just going to how it's going to be, and then we'll see, do those vulnerabilities exist in the future commits? Like, can we inspect that the line of code that has a vulnerability? Now that we know all of the context, can we just go see if that still exists and then make a commit on that? I mean, I think it's going to get there. I think the hybrid approach is literally where it's already there. I think, it's going to just get better. And what I mean by the hybrid approach is giving the AI agents, not just give them all the context, but give them access to deterministic tools that they can call. And there's tool calling's already a thing right now. But for example, you could have use one of the, I don't know, one of the vendors that does a SaaS scan for the CLI tool, scans that, parses that output, and then but also does its full context analysis to auto triage it to see if it's a false positive or not. Right? I guarantee you, most of the SaaS vendors right now are already working on that, and they know that's where it needs to be. But we're going to see this combination of the deterministic tools that AI has access to, and we'll see probably. That'll be some of the magic that the vendors have, rather than just the AI part. They'll have maybe a better deterministic tool for doing this small little thing, or double checking this to make sure it's not a hallucination or a false positive or something like that. And the AI will be bringing in all of the context and making fixed commits or whatever.
Yeah. I have a question. I know Cameron's going to have thoughts on this one. So if we're going to accept that there's going to be some sort of lag, right? Do you think people are going to start measuring the gap? So what's the size of my risk window? Because I can know that, right? And so I know what the lag is. And it's like in SecOps, we always try to shrink the window of mean time to detect and mean time to resolve. Do you think we might start seeing the same thing with code security?
It's an interesting question, and yeah, I think anytime you're not, because right now we kind of operate under this general assumption that all code that goes out the door was scanned for vulnerabilities and hopefully remediated those vulnerabilities. I think there's that general assumption, but correct me if I'm wrong here. What you're proposing is that stuff will go out the door that we truly don't even know the vulnerabilities. Is that kind of what you guys were saying?
Don't know if it's been scanned. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, don't know if it's been scanned.
Right.
That, I think, fundamentally will never happen, purely because human beings are afraid of any kind of, risk or compliance factors. I know we are going to get into compliance, but like there's that vector of it. There's a level of assurance that is not going to be there. There has to be a certain level of code
you
commits.
have to establish the trust.
Yeah, the trust with it, in which nobody has trust with AI right now. Literally nobody has trust, which brings me into the next zero trust. Yeah, I have this crazy hypothetical, and I think it's a great thought process, and I kind of want to put it out there in the universe, and we'll see where it lands and see if you guys resonate with this. Blake's kind of heard this already once before, but we'll see where if his opinions
cheating on the test.
He is cheating.
That's how I passed school. It's fine.
So we already established that
doesn't matter anymore.
We're heading towards this world where possibly code may be secure at generation. And if it's secure at generation, that's before it's committed. Thinking from an AppSec perspective, is there a day where we get to, and I'm not going to say 100 because Ken from Absolute Sec is going to be like, Cameron, if one gets through, your whole hypothetical falls apart. So I'm gonna say, let's say 99.9%. It gets 99%, right? Or 99.9, right? That's acceptable for all of us for our uptime on our environments in AWS or something, right? Let's say it's that. And right now, we all have vulnerabilities out there in our code, in our applications. We're already operating probably somewhere in a 95% range, just because there's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of stuff that we're committing, or then we find the vulnerability out later, right? There's just a lot that we don't know. So it's not like the world, just because it commits secure code in that moment, quote unquote, does not mean there's change as systems grow and there's complexity. But we're heading towards a world where maybe it's 99.9. And if it's 99.9, what's the point? I ask myself, of AppSec or ProdSec. Like, what's our job at that point when the code that is being committed essentially has no vulns? Our budget comes into question, especially around tools. If we're saying from a compliance perspective, we're not even compliant. Let's just say that we love security and we're going to do it right, regardless of other factors. We're going to do it right.
No check boxes.
Yeah, no check boxes. We're doing it right. We have these SaaS tools that are scanning. Traditionally, SaaS tools cost a lot of money. It's a big part of the budget. So same with DAST.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, DAST is a little cheaper, but SaaS is pretty expensive. The value proposition for that falls apart, because what are we scanning for? What sake? When does our SaaS tool find that? Yeah, we're but the assurance is because today we distrust so much. Do we head into a hypothetical world where there's a lot less distrust at that level? Do you guys think that could happen? Is that utopia? Is Cameron just vibing on some bliss?
It could be. The optimist is really showing. But I mean, at the same time, like, why do we have car insurance? I'm a great driver. I'm not going to get in an accident, but I got to still pay for insurance.
Hold up. That does not hold up. All right. Insurance is a scam. It is literally a scam invented.
I agree.
That's why we have cyber insurance today, right? Cyber insurance was not there 10 years ago. Cyber insurance was not there 10 years ago, and we were operating our cyber businesses for years, and suddenly now all of us have cyber insurance. Why did that happen? I think money, not really security.
Right.
Real quick, do you guys want to start an AI agent insurance company? Like,
I'm already doing it right now. I'm vibe coding it. OpenAI is literally doing it right now. Yeah, literally on my phone right now, and it's telling me what to do. Yeah. It's already rolling in. There's a truck. It's dumping it in my lawn.
It'll release tomorrow, and we'll watch the cyber stocks crash again. This is market manipulation by Cameron.
Yeah, facts. I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting
I want to go back to your question, though, because I do have, like, if, and here's the if, like, if 99.9 plus secure at generation, and you're defining at generation is before commit, right?
Yeah.
So it's before it leaves the developer's machine.
Yeah. Because we already try to ensure that right now. We tell our developers to use like XYZ tools in the IDEs or your CLI tools, right? Before you commit.
Yeah.
Just ignore that, right?
I mean, you have
Don't do that.
If we make that assumption, it does call into question expensive static analysis or SAST vendors, right? But that's a big if. Like, that's a really big if. We know that AI is going to write code with bugs, and we know that vulnerabilities are bugs in code, right? And it's going to happen. They were trained on data that had bugs and vulnerabilities in them, right? That's going to get better. It already is getting way, way, way better.
Yep.
But I mean, how hard is it to get developers to just use a simple secret scanner before they commit secrets to the repo? Right now, we rely on like a human person to be using some of these tools. Now, if we have agent swarms and maybe we set up policies and things that basically say when you're coding with an agent, we basically determine all of that. I think that's where security is going to be sitting, and static analysis vendors maybe are going to be less important. But how do we know if we have better than 99.9% secure code if we don't have something scanning it and looking at it and detecting that it is actually relatively vulnerability free? So those vendors are just going to be shifting more to scanning and static analysis or whatever on the developer's machine or pre-commit instead of scanning in the pipelines. Or maybe we do a scan in the pipeline every now and again as like a defense in depth kind of thing. But these vendors are going to be shifting way, way, way further left or be in the agent environment or something.
I have another thought that kind of goes further, and then I'm gonna let Cameron just go bananas.
He's like, I saw him crack his knuckles. He's got his cracking knuckles. He's ready to go.
Yeah, I can't wait for this one to hit YouTube so that people can see Cameron gearing up for stuff. But I mean, SAS scanners. Now I'm gonna layer in pen testing. Like, if the SAS scanner, if you don't need it anymore, maybe you do, where does that leave pen testing? Does it go away too? I don't know.
I would say
I'm just going to let that one
float. I said that earlier. I said that when we were talking about bug programs. I said both of them will go away because the value proposition is not there. What's the point?
Right. You're moving from detection to outright prevention. And if you build enough trust and can guarantee that you're preventing it, then you don't need these things anymore.
Possibly even remediation, right? You have it. It's in your own system, pen testing for you. Then you hook it in to remediate too. It's full circle. It's what we've always dreamed about.
My utopia where everything just fixes itself.
Yeah. So the one thing I wanted to say is that the value proposition is the key thing that I'm thinking about. I'm a director. I run a program. I have money, and I have only a certain amount of money. And what is the point of running my scanner if the scanner only finds such a small subset of vulnerabilities that, I don't know, the level of risk there becomes a question because of the costs. So what does it do? All SaaS vendors for your deterministic, there's a lot of people out there. I was chatting with somebody today, really smart, and was like, I have to have a level of assurance. And the only way I can get that is through deterministic. And so that's why I can't trust AI, because AI is not deterministic. I proposed a question to him, and I said, why does it matter? Why does deterministic matter if the vulnerabilities at the end of the day is secure? How many years are you going to run your deterministic scanner against code that is producing 10 vulnerabilities, but you're paying an astronomical amount because to build and maintain those tools costs a lot of money? Your CISO, your CFO, people are going to ask the question, what is the value proposition at that point? And that's the thing I'm thinking about is, it may be decided for us. Back to the cybersecurity insurance thing, it may come to a point that they're like, hey, that's acceptable amount of money because it meets our it doesn't meet our threshold. So we'll just accept that risk, drop the deterministic expensive scanner, only use this one. We just had cost savings. And if you average that over years, debating the breach, it's still a net positive, even if we get breached, 3 times or something, right?
It. Yeah, so I'm gonna put the executive hat on because you had to bring budgets and the rest of it, and we often talk about the value proposition, and we talked about this in our last episode with Billy about how do you illustrate the value cybersecurity teams bring to an organization. You have to translate all of this crazy. You can't use fear, uncertainty, and doubt. No FUD. That's rule number one.
Yeah.
But then how
That's
do
what
you
a lot of people
translate
are
this
leaning
to
into.
value in dollars and cents? And to your point, like if I spend $600,000 on a scanner and it doesn't find anything, someone's going to say, "Why am I spending that money, and why should I continue to do so?" And then
Yeah.
you have to translate this into real value to the business. I don't have an answer to that question because if I'm not finding vulnerabilities, I'm going to be like, I kind of agree with you. So let's go
You're
do
paying
something
for
else.
assurance. Like you're literally paying for a double check. How many years is a business going to accept you paying for a double check?
As long as it's required for certifications and
all right,
audits.
there it is. Certifications.
It's true. Like it's checkbox security, and that unfortunately does happen. But when to answer your question, how long are companies going to continue to pay for those tools that don't find anything? Well, as long as it's required to get XYZ cert that they need to get by auditors.
But how long are we going to deal with that?
Going to change.
Yeah, and compliance is slow. It's going to take forever. And so all of us are going to be paying. And then what happens at that point? Maybe your CFO says, hey, your budget for your SaaS tool is cut in half. And so you have to go buy a not so good one, or you have to go get an open source solution and spend all this time re-engineering it. The question's going to keep coming back to that value proposition, at least in this hypothetical world, right? Who knows? We could be completely wrong. But I think it's an interesting question because isn't that where we're all headed with AI? It's supposed to get more efficient. It's supposed to get more cheaper. It's supposed to be able to do this. It's supposed to be, if you follow what they're saying and what, sort of pseudo is happening from what we're seeing, I don't know. I think that's where I see things going.
You're bringing painful reminders of why you have to shop for car insurance every 6 months.
True.
Did you just have to renew your insurance? Like you keep bringing that
one up. He's a little jaded there.
I actually saved money and I got better insurance. So
I feel like we're in a commercial
I just added.
I just added. Start talking about insurance companies or SaaS scanners because then we'll just go down a whole different rabbit hole.
I just had my two twin teenagers to my insurance this month, and it's
that's expensive.
It's painful.
It's brutal. I was gonna say something, but now I'm just only thinking about insurance.
Well, we keep turning security into insurance. I mean, we have cyber insurance, and there's even insurance for like directors and executives in case something goes wrong. I got to protect myself. It's crazy. I didn't know that existed till like 2 years ago, and I was like, "Hey, that's weird."
Yeah, it's true. We can pivot. So the final kind of topic we want to talk about is the vendors. I love the title for this one, the vendor reckoning. It's kind of really happening, and it's gonna happen. We're already seeing it. The Claude Code Security shows where at least the SaaS space is heading. It is complete validation. It's been validation. There is OpenAI's Aardvark and Google's CodeMender, and then there's already other vendors who have been in the space for a long time. And then every SaaS vendor right now is emerging in that direction. There's a lot of companies out there that are building it if they don't have it. Everybody who is in the application security vendor space is doing this probably, I bet, behind the scenes because this is what everyone's going to want. And that's the vendor reckoning. Either people are going to start scooping up. We're going to see a lot of startups get scooped up. We're going to see a lot of vendors consolidate. And we're going to see a lot of vendors just pop up over this. The question I wanted to propose to you in this section is, in this hypothetical world where we're building all this cool code and building all these cool things, what happens with SCA? Do we head into a world where SCA scanners, at least like what they are today, we don't need? Because I'm not saying 100% of all our open source could go away. There are some beautifully crafted, highly optimized third-party libraries out there that I'm like, there's no way you could vibe your code that success. That was Craftsman, right? That is chef's kiss, 20 years of a perfection, building code that it's going to take a long time for chef's kiss of that level that AI will bring to the table. But if we remediate, say we replace 90% of our third-party libraries with, in-house what we need, our own internal libraries. Yeah, it's an interesting perspective, because I think about it from that side. I'm like, okay, now I have to worry a lot less about third-party libraries being attacked, watering hole attacks, typo squatting, all these, certificate pinning, 0 days on those. My attack surface in that perspective drops a lot.
You're basically saying your supply chain risk goes way down.
Way down.
So I don't know if that'll happen with containers or what. I don't think it'll happen with operating systems, but I'm thinking third-party libraries, because we build so much. There's the opposite side. We could, the DARPA thing where another person, some I don't know, code security fairy who's very rich and is just like, hey, I'm going to sponsor XYZ and give me the top, 20, the 10,000 libraries, and we're going to fix all the vulns. We're just going to fix all the vulns. I've got, millions of dollars. I'm just going to do this. That would be a cool thing to see. If you got millions of dollars, come on, somebody do it. Somebody do it. Just improve our open source system, please. Transitive dependencies, fix them. I don't know. What do you guys got to say?
I don't know. I think we'll just have to kind of wait and see. It really depends on the language, right? Like each programming language has its own culture surrounding dependencies. And not even just culture, like, for example, Go. A lot of people who write Go, and I don't know if it's just a culture thing or if this is intentional, if they need a little package or something, they'll just make it. Go is kind of structured in a way that everything is modularized into packages kind of anyway. So it maybe lends itself easier to just make your own internal packages. But you got other languages that are just dependency, like JavaScript, Python. There's just so many dependencies out there, and there's so much movement on those. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to see more people do it, but I don't think people are going to do it unless like someone's out there evangelizing, hey, this is maybe something you should do with your agents. Because I think a lot of people aren't going to think about that. A lot of developers, they're like JavaScript developers, they just think, oh, I need this. I need to interact with the database. I'm going to get Prisma as my ORM. That's just what I do, right? Instead of maybe making your own internal in-house ORM. People don't think like that. They just reach for a library every single time.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think there's like a skill.
Yeah, you can do it. Skill, and someone's going to need to kind of basically like orchestrate those agents, or orchestrate or teach or educate people that maybe you should look into doing more first-party code instead of third-party code in these scenarios. But maybe here's scenarios where you don't want to do first-party
doing
code.
it right here, right now. It's happening. We're telling people
on the phone. He said he's using his phone for it. But I mean, essentially, what Blake is talking about is I was a developer in the past, and not as good as Blake, of course.
Same.
But we're taught to operate a certain way, right? Like you need to build modular code. It needs to be portable and clean and the rest of it. And so when you say, I want to do a thing or I want to solve this problem, there's a library for that. So I'm just going to go grab it and it's already done for me, right? Whereas AI kind of turns this on its head to say, you don't have to do that anymore. So maybe there's a culture shift in the future where it's like, I can just direct my swarm of agents to go chat amongst themselves, consume all of my tokens, and so I'll be broke real soon too. But they're going to solve my problem for me. And I don't have to use that library and trust that someone's going to maintain it and fix whatever baggage comes with it, right? It's just my magical security fairy agents are going to solve my problems for me and sprinkle the magic dust on the code base and solve all my problems at my direction. And it fundamentally transforms the way we work.
Yeah. And this is what I'm also thinking about is if Claude Code Security can help in this perspective, help you upgrade. Could it do that? Could it help you where it scans the code, says, oh, we're going to jump to this library version, right? Maybe that's the intermediate gap. It helps you. It goes through your code, figures out all the dependencies, and gets you on the latest version. I bet there's companies out there that are doing that right now, maybe not at the scale, not secure at generation. It's probably happening later, I don't know. But it's fascinating what we can do with this, and especially around SCA. And then the value proposition comes back to that, around that. At what level are we going to start not needing SaaS? And are we going to have to keep using SaaS because of vendor or because of compliance? Or SCA,
Well,
sorry,
I'm
SCA,
tired.
saying SCA there.
You know how I feel about checking boxes, so I'm not even going to say it this time.
I will say one of the more interesting things surrounding open source packages is I think we're going to see, you're already seeing a little bit, but I think we're going to see this a lot more of open source projects being ported into completely different languages via AI. AI is going to enable that big time. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Ladybird browser. Have you guys heard of the Ladybird browser?
Yeah. I'm so sad it's not coming to Windows. They're not building any I'm a big gamer, and so Windows gaming is still the dominant. Someday Steam OS or whatever the one is, Linux distro will be usable, but until that solves, I'm still in there. I just wanted to come to Windows. Come to Windows.
But anyway, the guy talked about how he ported it from C++ to Rust, right? And he used AI and was very intentional, and it was a human in the loop kind of a thing. But he did it in like a week or two, and it would have taken him months, 3 to 6 months to do it, right? You're going to see that kind of stuff happen. There's some very cool JavaScript libraries and Python libraries that just don't exist in other languages, and people wish they had them. We're going to probably start seeing those things pop up, which will be interesting. I don't. SCA is going to have a challenge there, but I mean, what are we going to do with all the scanners and things? I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens with open source dependencies and third-party dependencies, and how those scanners operate, and if we need them or whatever.
Interesting to think about, because what you just said, like, a lot of times when people decide like, oh, I'm going to rebuild my solution or I'm going to modernize it, and they end up changing the language it's written in, right? Like, the day has come where you don't necessarily have to do that.
Yeah.
So the final spot that I kind of want to is just, where do you guys envision what's going to happen? Where do you think, if you could throw out a prediction, right? I think we're deciding a sneak peek, but I think we're going to have Blake come back every quarter, and we're going to do like state of ProdSec session. We might call this session called title.
We'll come up with a name for it.
Yeah, it'll be something it'll be cool, but it'll be a
have
reoccurring
AI
name.
come up with a name for it.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
We'll come up with a few.
What do you mean? It's already happening right now. Like, I hooked OpenClaw into this conversation, and
you're on an open mic with the AI already.
I've already built like 18 solutions right now. Like, you guys, this is gold, and you're not getting any of it.
The room is on fire. The tokens are gone.
Tokens are going through the roof.
That's okay.
Power
That's
bill
okay.
is exponentially
the
more.
truck of money is coming. All right, don't worry about this.
Send me one too.
Fair enough. All right, so I'll kick us off. I ask the question: where do you think we're going to be? Or at least one thing that you think might happen, or a piece of advice or something. The big thing I'm thinking, and this is just because of my OWASP project, SPVS, Secure Pipeline Verification Standard. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more shift around security needing to happen around the pipeline with AI. Because we're going to have these agents maybe automatically committing code and doing these things. People are going to set up OpenClaw to to Telegram is I think what they hook it into, and they're going to be taking naps, sending messages to it, and it's going to be committing code and pushing to prod. But we need to have proper security controls around that. We need to isolate the blast radius, our NHIs, non-human identities. For anybody who doesn't know that, NHIs, that's usually associated with AI stuff, and we used to call them like service accounts. Right, usually under the assumption that a service account would be a non-human. Yeah, but I think it's interesting that like we're calling it non-human identities now, and I'm like, but wasn't that just service accounts? I don't know, maybe it's a hot take.
It used to be. So we could debate it for another 30 minutes, which no one wants to hear that.
Are we supposed to use NHIs on our actual human written code automation, or are we supposed to still call them NHIs or call them service accounts? I don't know. I just think that's interesting.
It's whatever you want.
It's whatever I want. But I think it's interesting what's going to happen in that perspective. I think we're going to continue to automate the pipeline just like how we've been automating code, and continue to spread that down through the cycle. So security is going to have to be managing that blast radius, because we have to manage these agents that are probably orchestrating in our pipelines. So at least that's mine.
I mean, I kind of hinted at it before, but where do I think we're going? I don't have a timeline, but I think we're going to more dynamic, fully automated systems that are run by non-human identities, and humans become the orchestrator and kind of the manager of the whole system to make sure it stays on the rails and set those sort of guardrails in plain language, and then build the trust over time and let it go.
Yeah. Oh man, my hot take.
Last.
Yeah. My hot take is well, first and foremost, we're going to have a slump in tech graduates over the next like 5 to 6 years. And we're going to have this weird kind of thing happen because a lot of people that are in college right now, there's a lot of unknowns surrounding like AI and tech and careers. And I think a lot of people are reconsidering a degree in tech or something like that. And I think we're going to have this weird kind of slump. And I know this has nothing to do kind of with what you guys were talking about, but I think that's going to lead to some interesting some interesting issues that will kind of hit us in like 5 years. And maybe AI is going to be one of those things that can kind of help that or assist with that or something. But we're going to have something like that happen. My next hot take is we're going to have ProdSec vendors. There's going to have to be some sort of consolidation. Some longstanding vendors like may not be here or will get bought out. We're going to have new up and comers coding and coming up with a very clever, very creative solution, really, and gain a lot of traction really fast. And we're going to have that. And then the final thing is, I feel like eventually we're going to get rug pulled on token costs. I think that's going to happen. Yeah. And I know they're going to get more efficient, but all of these big companies are operating at a loss in this division. You have Google, whatever. Google makes money hand over fist in other areas, so they can continue to lose with their models and things. So we're going to have one of these big, AI only vendors get acquired or merge with or something, some other cash flow. They need to solve their cash problem. Right. And so there's going to be some sort of a merger with a business that has another way of providing cash, or they're going to get bought by a business that has another way of providing cash, something. Because training models, while they're getting more efficient, the training is an exponential issue. And that's one of the problems. As the models get bigger and more complex, the computational and memory efforts and hard drive size efforts required to do all of that process goes up exponentially. And that's one of the issues that they continue to face. Each model that they release is exponentially more computationally difficult and resource intensive to make. And so while tokens are getting more efficient for us, new models are getting more expensive to create. So I don't know. There's going to be a bunch of interesting things happen. They all need to solve their cash problem.
So the energy problem is the energy rolls into it too. You need data centers, definitely. You need hardware, you need power for all of it. So we're seeing a lot of clean power now too. So I mean, it's been fun. This is now one of our longest, if not the longest episode. Yeah, but we cracking into how the world of cybersecurity is changing. Well, has been changing and just got lit on fire thanks to Anthropic and Claude Code Security. So Blake, thank you again for joining us. It's always a pleasure. We'll see you back here sometime soon as we get this quarterly thing off the ground. If you enjoyed the episode, you enjoy the podcast, rate us 5 stars, thumbs up, like, subscribe, follow, whatever the button says on your favorite platform. Smash the smash. It's bananas.
Share it. Reach out to us on LinkedIn. Follow Blake Beus on LinkedIn. Reach out to us if you have any feedback.
Yeah, we're always chatting with people on LinkedIn. It gets hard sometimes, but check it out, and we'll see you back here next week. Take care, everyone.